Welcome to Investors Insights. Our topic today is fear trades. We thought that was appropriate. There's a lot of emotion out there. There's a lot of facts flying around that may not be fully organized to counter those fear trades. We've got volatility in the market. Guys, I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation and the research that you had done. Bobby, let's talk to our viewers here in terms of coronavirus and where we are. Let's talk about that in relation to markets and economy.
Yes, let's talk about last week. So last week we were down 12%. We've been down 12% in the past 7 trading days. Highest weekly volume we've seen in a decade. We had fewer than 20 stocks in the S&P are still above their 50-day average price.
Okay.
And then the Dow Jones went from a 52-week high to a 52-week low the past 10 trading days. So historical volatility, no question about it. But from a historical standpoint, last week's selling pressure was very similar to what we saw in 9/11 and the terrorist attacks. When the market first opened back up, we saw intense panic selling like we saw last week. But then the Fed came in, the economy restarted, and the S&P was up 20% after the intense selling. So from a historical standpoint, these type of violent trading events are usually short-lived, no guarantees, but they're usually short-lived. And to keep things into perspective, let's think about this, and it's a serious and sad event, but 3,000 people have died from the coronavirus as we sit here today. 80,000 have died from the flu, and the flu has never shut down economies.
Right.
So
well, and you can travel anywhere.
Right.
You can travel anywhere and get the flu. Is that right?
Exactly.
So as people are acting like, well, I don't want to travel, the flu is out there as well.
Yeah, and so this is what we saw last week was more of a fear trade than fundamental trade.
Okay.
Corporate America is healthy. The American consumer is healthy. Also, there's one thing to keep in mind that the intra-year pullback that we see on an average year is 11%. What we have is an extended bull market. Sometimes you have to have a pullback to get new buyers in the market to hit a higher high. So election year, we usually see volatility there. So, but anyway, fear trade, not fundamental.
In emotions sell headlines. That's what keeps your attention. Yep. And so everybody needs to be aware of the fact that, yes, we're hearing the emotion, but we're also looking at those facts. And we've talked about in previous vlogs that, we always need to take a step back and analyze what's really going on. And Adam, you made a great point on that. Talk about the fundamentals that you're seeing out there.
Yeah, and to the fundamentals, Bobby, your point, the market has a heartbeat. And the little blip that we saw last week is what we refer to as volatility. Yeah. We saw a lot of volatility in the market. Now, one huge indicator is the U.S. consumer. Now, we look at this from a worldwide pandemic is what our fear is. Our anxiety lays around that. But let's bring it back to the United States. In the last month, which is not a big sample size, but for the beginning of the month, personal income went up 0.6%. That's the largest percentage in a month span in over a year. Now let's look at single family home sales.
Okay.
So new home sales. It's the fastest pace in a month since 2007. Yeah. It's a large blip. In the last year, 18.6%. So while we're seeing this kind of go worldwide, if we bring it back home from a small sample size in January when this coronavirus started, we're still getting a lot of productivity out of the U.S. consumer. And that's our front line of defense. I mean, that's the first person you look at, you go to, is your common person in the United States and say, how do you feel about this?
Well, and you're bringing up a great point in terms of production line, distribution channels and everything. Yes, there's disruption going on, but a positive that may come from this is that more places locate their business in the United States just to see to it that we don't experience something like this again.
And it's not only about savings, I mean, the consumer spending as well.
Right.
So we're seeing savings and spending. Those are two good things happening at once. So I think we're on a positive trend from a U.S. standpoint.
Well, and I like the way we look at what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? We look at the negative versus the positive. And tying into that, Ashley, you also continued with information that was very positive. A lot of negatives out there, but there are a lot of positives we need to keep our eyes on.
It's on the American gross domestic product. It's kind of moving along at about 2.5%. Above 3%, it's just screaming it.
Very much so.
But 2.5 to 2.75, still very solid. If you really boil a lot of this economic data down like we have, what you find is what's really kind of missing right now is the business investment that we would have gotten with the Chinese American trade deals relaxing a little bit.
That's a great point.
It's not that it's off for the year. It's still early in the year. It's just being delayed a little bit. So we may see a little bit of tick down on GDP. We're seeing a little bit of tick down on business investment, but it doesn't mean for the year it's going to stay there.
Right.
You'll get past this and it'll rebound.
Right. So it's holding things back.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of momentum there that once we kind of get to a stable point on the coronavirus, that we could see momentum from business.
Absolutely.
Additional spending,
Correct.
products, all of those.
Far from gone for the year.
I got you. And I mean, there's going to be volatility. If you're a retiree out there, you're going, oh my word, this market is bouncing around. But the reality is a lot of good things are still going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And then on top of that, we're getting people calling in saying, okay, guys, look, I'm talking about coronavirus here and the volatility of the markets, and on top of that, somewhere in there's an election and debates, and who's going to solve all the country's problems. So
we still have a primary going on in the middle of all this. I think that's kind of getting lost at the front page news. It's definitely focused on the virus, but 14 states get to vote tomorrow, including our home state here, Alabama, gets to go to polls. The two important states we're watching is Minnesota and Massachusetts. The reason for that is Senator Klobuchar from Minnesota and Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts, they're still in the race. We've dropped down to, I think, 5 or 6 candidates now running. Yeah. And how those senators do in their home state will decide if they continue on, which if they do continue on is going to put a lot more pressure on the likelihood of a brokered convention. Right now, the odds sit at 65% that no candidate will get the majority, which means that this is going to last all the way through to July. And so that puts a lot of unease in the market in terms of uncertainty on who will be facing President Trump in the November election. So something we're watching very closely. A lot of states, a lot of delegates, California, Texas, a lot of things will be decided tomorrow on Tuesday.
Super Tuesday. Yeah. March 3rd.
So we will be watching that closely, and the markets will be watching that as well, from more of a sustainable impact than something the coronavirus may pass.
Yeah, well, all of this is great information, and I just want to say this. We had a client say to me on this past Friday, Greg, really would appreciate in the vlog today if you would cover the coronavirus and also the political landscape that we've got, because I've got all these friends and family and business colleagues around me that are all just nervous. They're anxious. And so, he said to me, once you do this, I want to share this with others. And so I'm thrilled from the standpoint the way we came at this today. Hopefully you've gotten great information. And to our client out there who made that request, I want to say to you, please go ahead, share this vlog with others, and let them know that there's, yes, a lot of headlines going on, but there's a lot of positive things behind the scenes. And so we want to keep you updated as this continues to evolve on the coronavirus, the volatility in the market, what the Fed will do, and the political landscape and the impact it can have. But at the same time, we want you to know that we do these vlogs to keep you informed. We want you to take time to watch them and share them. And at the same time, we're always available for phone calls, in-person meetings, and we're going to continue to get research out to you either directly or through our social media and other ways. High tech, high touch. Here at 5 Plan Partners, every day we're focused on how we can make our clients' lives better, richer, fuller, and how we can make a huge difference for them, their families, and the world around them. We thank you for taking time. We hope you have a great week, remain calm, and we'll keep you updated.